Akta Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakudash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is A Leopard Shall Watch Over Their Cities. Pretty much, I got that from the scripture in Jeremiah, which we're going to read. And it's pretty much centered around this one article that I have. I've had it for a while. I had it in my favorites. I pretty much was browsing through my favorites, see if I could find anything to do a lesson on. And I ran across this one article that's dated back in 2012. I believe it was July, of 2012. And as you're reading the article, you would think it was something modern day, today, meaning being 8 years later, 2020, the year of prophecy, and we're witnessing everything that they've been wanting to do from back then till now through the technology that they have. Now, years ago, I know you brothers that's been in for a while, you've witnessed when Elder Apostle Tahar, the Spirit, was on him to tell brothers not to deal with Facebook, not to have no Facebook page. And some individuals, they didn't listen. They got the page and all that. And what happened was pretty much that was the CIA collecting data and information from everyone out there. Now, the CIA indirectly funded that through a company called In-Q-Tel, which we're going to read about a little bit. And that In-Q-Tel is a company owned by private citizens where the CIA pretty much influenced them, and with the help of Congress, they set up this thing called In-Q-Tel for the purpose of helping the government with this technology on being able to watch over people. And they have this one thing which we're going to read after we read the scripture. They have this one device that they created that can pretty much read your adrenaline, levels. It could read your blood sugar levels. It could read, just read you, period. It could tell you what you ate for breakfast. Just all different types of nastiness that this devil is doing out here. And if you notice, people got used to watching the news, the regular news, and watching the episodes where they use the cameras on the highways to show you, the traffic, which be the best way to take, because this over here is clogged up because of this traffic. And those are cameras that they put up there, but people got used to using it just for that. But it was more than that. It was pretty much to watch over people. And if you notice, there's cameras everywhere. When you're flying down the highway, every once in a while you see a pole with a camera up on top of it. This in the cities, in the different cities, they have speed trap cameras. They have all different type of cameras watching. You watch the movie Enemy of the State. They showed you how they were able to track this one individual down, Will Smith, and they kept trailing him because every store and every place that had a camera, they were able to capture him, and you could see the government in the background tailing him, following him, and the agents chasing him. So this is what they want, is put all these cameras in place, because at the end of the day, they're trying to be like the Most High, right? So let's read this precept, Jeremiah 5:6. It says, "Wherefore a lion out of the forest shall slay them." And the lion and the wolf, the leopard, this is all symbolic of the officers of Esau. In the past, you could use this for the ancient Babylonian Empire, their officers. In modern day today, which America's Babylon the Great, these animals are symbolic for the men of these different agencies, whether they're military, police, or whatever the case is, mercenary groups, or whatever the case is. You could apply that to them today, especially dealing with the government. It says, "Wherefore a lion out of the forest shall slay them, and the wolf of the evening shall spoil them, and the leopard shall watch over their cities. So a leopard is watching over the cities, because these cameras that are being used are being monitored by who? They're being monitored by these different police forces, that work for the government. Now let's look up this word watch over. Let's see if it's watch over. Okay, watch, which is shaquad. Now another word for watch is shamar. The word shaquad is watch, to wake, watch, awake, be alert, to keep watch of, be wakeful over, to be wakeful, wake. It's to keep watch of. So pretty much you have these different governmental agencies keeping watch over the citizens of America and the world, because this is in a lot of places, but we're dealing with America. They have these different agencies that are keeping an eye on the people. They're saying it's for crime and this, that. No, it's just to keep track of everybody. And this is why the 5G technology is going up, to make everything a lot faster, to be able to communicate a lot quicker, to make their response time that much faster. You got cameras going up everywhere. The movie Minority Report, you seen at the end when he took the guy, the Moabite's eyes, or Ammonite, whatever the hell he was, and he had him, in his eyes when he was walking through, I believe it was a mall or airport, and they good morning, Mr. Moto, and then they show, stuff that he normally buys on sale, I think it was, on the walls and everything. So this is why they got all this stuff in place, to be able to recognize people's faces, just to keep track. These devils are very slick, man. And that, let's go back and read that again. It says, and the leopard shall watch over their cities. Now let's look up the word over. Let's look up the word over their cities. Ayar, excitement, anguish of terror, city, town. So pretty much watching over the cities, and that's what's happening. And that's why they have all these cameras in place. So let's read this one more time, one more again. Wherefore a lion out of the forest shall slay them. These are these different military / police groups / governmental agencies that they have out there. When all hell breaks loose, scripture say that they shall be like madmen, sparing none. Okay? And a wolf of the evening shall spoil them. A leopard shall watch over their cities. And if you know anything about the nature of a leopard, because I've seen a little bit of a documentary where they were speaking on the leopard, and the leopard is known for his stealthiness. Even in the day, like you'll have animals out there, lions, tigers, everything out there, and the leopard is so stealthy that he can move in the presence of them, so stealthily that they wouldn't even notice that he's there. And this is how they're using that. These police agencies are using that by using the cameras and all that to spy on the people, and people can't figure it out. They can't see it. It says, everyone that goeth out thence shall be torn in pieces, and eventually it's going to get physical. It's going to get physical. Look, the scriptures say that there's going to be an insurrection upon those that fear the Lord. There's going to be a time of Jacob's trouble, a time that's never since there was a nation to this very time. And at that time, that people shall be saved. And if the Lord didn't cut that time short, there would be no flesh to be saved, because these devils are going to be very merciless. They're not going to be playing around. They're going to be under a total spell. And you see now with this technology that they put in people, whether they put the chip in their head or their hand, they can use that to control and manipulate a person's moods. Like that one doctor, I forget his name. He put some probes in a bull in his head, in the brain, stimulating certain parts of the brain. And when the bull would get aggressive, they would hit a button, and the bull would just calm down. So with this technology that they're putting into people, you think that if they could do that to a bull, and this is back, in more than 50, 60, 70 years ago, that the technology that they have now is not further more advanced than it was back then? Let's go to Daniel 12. Excuse me. 12:4. But thou, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book, because his Bible has been sealed for a certain period of time. The words were sealed, but then the Lord broke those seals when first when Yahushua came on the scene and sacrificed himself. That was the beginning of the opening, but then the world went back to that silence for a long period of time until the Lord put the spirit on a man by the name of Abba Bivens, who we believe in the spirit is Elijah the prophet coming back, John the Baptist coming back, which he never fell out the truth. And that's when the Lord really started to have this truth to start taking root, and the truth starting to come out again. Because prior to that, you had Jake's, mainly Judah, possibly Benjamin and Levi, that were waking up to the fact that they were Israelites, but they only dealt with the Old Testament. They didn't deal with the New Testament. It wasn't until Elder Abba Bivens, the Lord inspired him to get into the New Testament, and that's one of the things that I'm pretty sure that's one of the things that caused the split, because them Old Testament Israelites are following them so-called Jews, them Amalekites, where they don't accept, the New Testament, because they say the Messiah hasn't come yet. So they're denying the whole New Testament. So the Spirit was on Elder Abba Bivens to be the first to go into that and to bring out the truth of that. And back then, High Priest Yaquab and High Priest Arya and King Masha, they were back there. But before that, you had High Priest Arya was a very young man, very young, and he used to read for Elder Abba Bivens, and he used to speak, and if you see videos of that man was a force to be reckoned with when the Spirit of the Lord came upon him out there in the streets, roaring like a lion, So that's how the truth started to come up. That's when the end came and the word started to be revealed. It says even to the time of the end, because that's what ushered in the end. Because remember, the scriptures say that at the end it shall speak and not lie. Let's get that real quick and go back to Daniel. Habakkuk chapter 2, I'll start at the first verse. It says, I will stand upon my watch and set me upon my tower. Why? Because Habakkuk was a prophet, and will watch to see what he will say unto me and what I shall answer when I am reproved. And this is, we're pretty much in that stead now. We're waiting for certain things for the Lord to give us certain information or inspire us or, move us to do these different lessons, find certain information and bring it out. Like I was just, I finished watching the video that the brother Yahweh out in Hawaii did about the public food system and how they use education. And then just now, as I was getting ready to do this lesson, I was listening. I got about maybe halfway through the lesson that Elder Manasseh Zakba put up, dealing with Herod, in the Arabs being the Ishmaelites and all that. So when the Lord gives us those inspirations, brothers do videos. And that's what we were answering when we were reproved. And the Lord answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it. Why? Because everything is plain there, but the Lord had a block. That's why for a long time people couldn't figure out that Babylon the Great was America. That the Israelites were the so-called Negros, Latinos, Native American Indians, so on and so forth. Many different, that the so-called white men were the Edomites, because those things were blocked for a certain period of time. It says, for the vision is yet for an appointed time. And the Lord said he does not stir or move them until the Lord pleases. So there came a particular day of a particular hour, a particular minute, a particular second of a particular year that the Heavenly Father said, okay, this is the time now for this stuff to be revealed. Let's go. It's go time now. But at the end, it shall speak. But now that we're at the time, that's appointed time, it's speaking. And how is it speaking? By what we see going on in the world that goes back to what the scriptures is speaking about. It says, and not lie. Why? Because everything that's in the scriptures is going to be accomplished. So the Lord said that they were going to be like madmen, sparing none. There was going to be a great insurrection upon the people of the Lord. There's going to be a time of Jacob's trouble. These things are coming. And these devils are they're not going to have mercy on Jake. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. So it's not going to take long. Let's go real quick to Psalms. What is that? 8? No, 17. My bad. Psalm 17 and 13. Just go straight to the point. It says, "Arise, O Lord, disappoint him, cast him down, deliver my soul from the wicked, which is thy sword." So the Lord is going to have the spirit, they're going to be possessed, you know, and they're going to do the Lord's bidding out here. You know, because the scripture, remember the scripture say that his ministers are not a terror unto good works. But if thou do bad, be afraid, be very afraid. Why? Because that's who the Lord is going to get. It says, "From men which are thy hand, O Lord, from men of the world which have their portion in this life, and whose belly thou fillest with thy hid treasure, they are they are full of children, and leave the rest of their substance to their babes, because the Lord gave them the world." Remember, the scriptures say that the earth is given into the hand of the wicked, and everything that's in on the earth is given to them. Scripture said that they are wiser than Daniel. Why are they wiser than Daniel? Because the Lord allowed them to be that way. Okay? Because the Lord has a purpose. All right, now let's go back. Daniel 12. It says, "Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased." So now we're at the point where the knowledge is being increased, and that's this technology. And this is why they're able to, a leopard shall watch over their cities stealthily. You know, they have all different type of legislation. They have all different type of infrastructure that they have out there to watch over people. They have agencies. They have people that are hired in Google to spy on the people that are using Google, that are using YouTube. You see? Because they have an agenda. See, people think that they just go on the internet just, you know, oh, this is just something fun to do. I'm going to do a video, do some stupid video and put it up. You know, I'm going to tweet this person. I'm going to tweet that person. You know, I'm going on Facebook and say how my day has been. You know, see if anybody else out there is having a good day like me or whatever the case is. That's not what it was created for. That's what that's what they made the people believe. But it was really created in their minds to spy on everybody. But really, it was created by the Lord to push truth out. So at the same time it's pushing the truth out, it's also exposing these devils. You know? So it says, "And a leopard shall watch over their cities. Every one that goeth out thence shall be torn in pieces, because their transgressions are many, and their backslidings are increased." So this is the Lord's judgment upon 2/3 of Israel when this whole situation goes down. Now let's go to the article. And the article is from Gizmodo. It says, "Hidden government scanners will instantly know everything about you from 164 feet away." And I believe I did a lesson on this before. But when I saw it, you know, when I was reading it, you could see that it pertains to today. Back then, they were just getting started with it. This is dated 7/10/2012. See? Now when we jump down here, it says, "No warning, laser scanners, and the end of privacy." Because at the end, this is what it's about. And they've made these people feel so uncomfortable and so insecure that they've pretty much opted to give up their freedoms for security. You know? It says, "Within the next year or two," this is back in 2012, "the U.S. Department of Homeland Security will instantly know everything about your body, clothes, and luggage with a new laser-based molecular scanner fired from 164 feet or 50 meters away. From traces of drugs or gunpowder on your clothes to what you had for breakfast to the adrenaline level in your body. Agents will be able to get any information they want without even touching you and without you knowing it. The technology is so incredibly effective that in November 2011, its inventors, now listen good, were subcontracted by In-Q-Tel. Now, if you know anything about In-Q-Tel, that is the agency that funded Facebook. And this agency was set up by the CIA and the U.S. government to work with the U.S. Department of Homeland Security. In-Q-Tel is a company founded in February 1999 by a group of private citizens at the request of the director of the CIA. and with the support of the U.S. Congress. So you mean to tell me, oh, no, they didn't have nothing to do with it? Yes, they did. They set them up. They gave them their money to set all that up. It says, according to In-Q-Tel, they are the bridge between the agency and new technology companies. Why? Because through this technology, knowledge being increased is how they're going to watch over the people. Is how they're going to be able to manipulate people, and that's why they want everybody chipped. You know, because if you have a chip in your forehead, guess what? They can control it as stroke. You can control your emotions and you by a few keystrokes. If you have it in your hand and you don't play ball, they turn your shit off, and you can't do anything. Like that Moabite that they showed, you know, that he was banned. He was pretty much blacklisted. You know, in his country, he couldn't take public transportation. He couldn't go into public buildings. I believe he couldn't work because of something that he said, and they didn't like it. So what they do, they shut him out. So with this technology that they have of the mark of the beast, which is a microchip, you don't play ball, they shut you out. You know, it says their plan is to install this molecular level scanning in airports and border crossings all across the United States. And this is one of the main reasons why they shut the world down, to be able to put this technology out there where people can't protest it, because in certain places they were burning the 5G towers down. It says the official stated goal of this arrangement is to be able to quickly identify explosives, dangerous chemicals, and bioweapons at a distance. The machine is 10 million times faster and 1 million times more sensitive than any currently available system. So just imagine now. That means that it can be used systematically on everyone passing through airport security, not just suspect or randomly sampled people, analyzing everything in real time. It says, but the machine can sniff out a lot more than just explosives, chemicals, and bioweapons. The company that invented it, Gemia Photonics, says that its laser scanner technology is able to penetrate clothing and many other organic materials, and offers spectroscopic information, especially for materials that impact safety, such as explosive and pharmacological substances. And you could read the PDF there. It says, formed in Montreal in 2009 by PhDs with specialties in lasers and fiber optics, because this is the wave of the future. Gemia Photonics has 30 patents on this technology, claiming incredible biomedical and industrial applications, from identifying individual cancer cells in a real-time scanner of a patient to detecting trace amounts of harmful chemicals in sensitive manufacturing processes. And this is the machine right here. Doesn't look like much, but it could do a lot. It says above the Gemia Photonics picosecond programmable laser scanner is capable of detecting every tiny trace of any substance on your body, from specks of gunpowder to your adrenaline levels to a sugar-sized grain of cannabis to what you had for breakfast. Meanwhile, In-Q-Tel states that an important benefit of Gemia Photonics implementation as compared to existing solution is that the entire synchronized laser system is comprised in a single, robust, and alignment-free unit that may be easily transported for use in many environments. This compact and robust laser has the ability to rapidly sweep wavelengths in any pattern and sequence. So not only can they scan everyone, they would be able to do it everywhere. The subway, a traffic light, sports events, everywhere. Well, right now they can't do the sports events. How does it work? The machine is a mobile rack mountable system. It fires a laser to provide molecular level feedback at distances of up to 50 meters in just picoseconds. For all intents and purposes, that means instantly. So they get everything back instantly, just by this laser. So you see how the technology is increasing. The small, inconspicuous machine is attached to a computer running a program that will show the information in real time, from trace amounts of cocaine on your dollar bills, man, to gunpowder residue on your shoes. Forget trying to sneak a bottle of water past security. They will be able to tell what you had for breakfast in an instant while you're walking down the hallway. You know, the technology is not new. It's just millions times faster and more convenient than ever before. Back in 2008, a team of George Washington University developed a similar laser spectrometer using a different process. It could sense drug metabolics in urine in less than a second, trace amounts of explosive residue on a dollar bill, and even certain chemical changes happening in a plant leaf. So pretty much they've been working on this technology, and believe it, by the time they put this article out, it was well in the making. You know, forget if it was Eustace Mullins or Jordan Maxwell that said, whenever you see something that the government's talking about, you better believe it was already 20 years in the making. They already had it 20 years ago. You know? And the reason why they have this is because they want to know everything about you. They want to be like the Most High. They want to be what's called omnipresent. Widely or constantly encountered, common or widespread. They want to be everywhere, of God, present everywhere at the same time. And that's why Big Brother is watching you. And that's why the name of the lesson is, a leopard shall watch over their cities. Because that's what they're doing. They're using this technology to watch over the citizens of America and the world. Remember, this is a new world order. This is not a thing of just for a couple of states or a couple of countries. This is something that's going to be worldwide. And this is why we read here, when we read Isaiah the 14th chapter, this is speaking about America falling. And falling from that great grace, or falling from that great state, should I say. Because Yahushua said, I seen Satan as lightning fall from heaven. Meaning he saw the adversaries, which is Esau, falling from their position of power, that heavenly state that they're in. Because heaven can be a state of mind. You know, it can be a state that you're in where you have a lack of nothing. You have everything you want at your beck and call. There's nothing that you don't have. And that's what the kingdom of heaven is going to be for us. We're going to have everything at our beck and call. Scripture said that even before we even ask for it, we're going to have it. We're going to be tripping over blessings. As to in this kingdom, we're tripping over curses. You know? Here it is, you're getting past one curse, and here comes another one right behind it, back to back. But those are the breaks for now, you know? And when the kingdom is established, you know, we're going to see the other half. We're going to see how the other half lives. Inside joke. Isaiah 14:12. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer? So the Lord is telling Esau, how are you falling from heaven, O Lucifer? Now people look at Lucifer and think that that's what they call an appellation or a name for the devil. This is not an appellation for the spiritual demon Satan. This is not a name for the spiritual demon Satan. This is a name for Satan, the physical counterpart on the earth, for the devil, for that great dragon, that old serpent, Lucifer, which when you break Lucifer down, it comes from the Hebrew word Hayalal, and it also comes from the Greek word Iosforos, which means, and I believe Lucifer is a Latin way of saying it, and it means old day star, or pretty much the illuminated ones. So how are you falling from your great position, O Lucifer? Because it's not talking about falling, Satan getting kicked out of heaven. Because when we deal with Yahushua's ministry, right? He was going around cursing certain people out and certain nations out. And let's get the red letter. And this is what he said of this particular city. And thou Capernaum, which is an actual city, which are exalted unto heaven, meaning what? That they were very well to do. They were very rich in substance. And they were exalted to heaven. They really didn't have need of anything. When we read Revelation, the 3rd chapter, where the Lord said that thou art rich, but no, it's not. Matter of fact, let me get that real quick. And then we'll jump back. Revelation 3. Revelation 3 and 17. Because thou sayest, I am rich and increased with goods and have need of nothing, and knowest not that thou art wretched and miserable and poor and blind and naked. And this is what Yahushua pretty much was cursing Capernaum out for, because they had riches and substance, but they didn't have the fear of the Lord. They didn't believe in the Lord. And thou, Capernaum, which are exalted unto heaven, shall be brought down to hell. Meaning what? You're gonna go from that great state to being destroyed, to falling from that state. And when you read about Capernaum, they said that this prophecy was so fulfilled that even the place where Capernaum is said to have been, there's debates of where exactly it is. It says, for if the mighty works which have been done in thee had been done in Sodom, it would have remained unto this day. So they went from a heavenly state to a hellified state, from riches to rags, so you could understand. So this is what we're reading about in the book of Isaiah 14. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer? How are you illuminated ones that had the power? All right, Salaki brothers, let me check something. So how are you illuminated ones, you so-called Illuminati, you so-called international bankers? How are you falling from that great estate that you were in? It says, son of the morning, how art thou cut down to the ground? So what do you mean? How were they cut down to the ground? Because they went from a lofty state to a fallen state. That's why it says in Isaiah 47, it says, come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Why sit in the dust? Because sit on the ground, there is no throne, because you are going to lose that lofty position. You're going to fall from that lofty position. That's a beautiful scripture, man. Brothers, man. Woo. I'm going to read this one. Y'all, what's up to the doc? Ecclesiastes 14:5. He that is evil to himself, to whom will he be good? He shall not take pleasure in his goods. Tazakia, Revelation 18:17. For in 1 hour so great riches is come to naught. Beautiful. And every shipmaster and all the company and ships and sailors and as many as trade by sea stood afar off, standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, alas, alas, that great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is that judgment come. And this is what it's talking about. What we're reading in Isaiah 14 is the fall of Esau. It's the fall of Babylon the Great. But the reason why a lot of people out there believe that that's talking about the spiritual demon Satan getting kicked out of heaven is because of religion, namely that plantation Christianity that came from the Roman Catholic Church. I'm going to read this scripture here, Elder Manata Zagba. Job 18:17, his remembrance shall perish from the earth. And this is what it's talking about. This is why scripture say precept upon precept, line upon line, here a little and there a little. So out of these scriptures that I just read from these brothers that they put up on the comment board, that's further proof that Isaiah 14 is not talking about the spiritual demon Satan. And he shall have no name in the street. Because right now, when you speak about Esau, everybody wants to be Esau. Why? Because they have everything. That's why a so-called black woman desires to have a so-called white man for a husband. Why? Because she thinks that by having that, she's going to get a position of power. But she don't know she's being deceived, just like Eve was deceived. He shall be driven from light into darkness and chased out of the world. And this is what's happening. Matter of fact, before I read on, there's another precept. Let me see if I can find it real quick. I believe that's Isaiah 26. Nope, that's not it. Or was it 18? Right. Isaiah 26:18. We have been with child, we have been in pain, meaning we catching hell. We have, as it were, brought forth wind, because we haven't brought deliverance. We haven't been delivered yet. We have not wrought any deliverance in the earth, neither have the inhabitants of the world fallen. But what we're reading about is the fall of these devils. That's why we read in Job 18:18, he shall be driven from light into darkness and chased out of the world. He shall neither have son nor nephew among his people, nor any remaining in his dwellings. You see? And this is what's going to happen to them. Tribe of Benjamin, Isaiah 3:11, woe unto the wicked, it shall be ill with him. That's right. For the reward of his hand shall be given him. Yep, that's right. That's right. So going back to Isaiah 47:1, come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground. There is no throne. See? So there is no throne. There's nothing for you to govern by anymore. Your capital, the capital of the world, America, Babylon the Great, will be destroyed. We read that in Isaiah the 34th chapter. There's not going to be anything there. So there's no more throne for you, because your time is up. O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. So you're not going to be called tender and delicate anymore. You're going into hardcore slavery. Because you're the one that, and it said here, how art thou cut down to the ground, which did is weaken the nations. So you are the one that weakened the nations. And by process of elimination, who is that speaking about? Just based off of what we know of history, of who the shit disturbers of the planet are. Esau, the so-called white man. That's where they have their military all throughout the world. Because these are the people that the Lord is speaking about, that are doing these things, that did weaken the nations. So now is your time to be weakened. And all these nations are going to be happy when you fall. For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. And they did ascend into heaven. How? By their space shuttles, by their planes, by their helicopters, so on and so forth. It says, I will exalt my throne above the stars of the Most High, because you put a station out in space, a space station. You told the world you went to the moon, but you never went to no moon. You know, but but you did want to go there. You just never went. You see? And then you planted, you know, that space station out there like that belongs to you. That don't belong to you, but the Lord allowed you to go that far because that was part of your bounds. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation. What is the mount of the congregation? The Israelites. And they're sitting upon us because they own us. We are slaves. Like Morpheus told Neo, that you are a slave. And what type of slaves are we? Contractual slaves. From the birth certificate when we're born to every piece of paper that links us to the government. Social security numbers, credit cards. I'm sorry, not credit cards, which that's kind of part of it. Driver's license. You know, adhesion contracts, which the word adhesion means glue. And this is what glued us to them. Because they know that according to the 13th Amendment, you know, that neither slavery nor involuntary servitude shall be in the United States, except for for crimes. And that's why you'll have Jakes in the prison that have to work for, what, 2 cents or $2 a day or something like that, whatever they get paid. And these big companies, these big mega companies are getting paid off of the toil and sweat of these prisoners, because according to the Constitution, they could be made slaves because they committed a crime. And we, on the other hand, are slaves because of contracts. You see? It says in the sides of the north, because they sit upon us in the sides of the north, which is what? North America. And this is why when Yahweh Shai comes back and delivers us, this deliverance is going to make the deliverance of Egypt pale in comparison. Because it's going to be something spectacular. It's going to be spectabulous. Jeremiah 16:14. Therefore, behold, the days come, saith the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, that it shall no more be said, the Lord liveth, that brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt. And is this not being still said? You know, they were still even making movies about Egypt. People are still talking about Egypt. Jake out there is talking about Egyptology. You know, you have people out there that still speak about, you know, the wilderness and how we were delivered out of Egypt. But the time is going to come when that's going to take a back seat, so to speak. And the new thing is going to be what? But the Lord liveth, that brought up the children of Israel from the land of the north. And what is that land of the north? It's talking about America, North America. Why? Because when the tribe of, or when the southern kingdom was in captivity under Babylon, that was in the north. But what great event took place that is still spoken of to this day, where it made Egypt to take a back seat? Nothing. So we know that this is not talking about ancient Babylon. This is talking about modern day Babylon. So the time is going to come where it's going to be said that the Lord liveth, Yahweh Bashem Yahushua liveth, that brought up the children of Israel from the land of the north, which is here in North America, and from all the lands whither he had driven them, because now we are scattered to the four corners of the earth. And I will bring them again into their land that I gave unto their fathers, because the Lord is going to bring us there. We're not going there on our own, because the Lord is the one that's going to bring us to our land. Okay, so going back here, sides of the north, I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. And they ascended above the heights of the cloud by their technology of planes. And they also have what? Satellites. They have different drones now. They have cameras everywhere, because they want to be like the Most High, omnipotent or omnipresent, if of God, present everywhere at the same time. And that's how they want it. Okay, bear with me 1 second. Okay. So it says, I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. Yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, meaning to the sides of the pit, meaning you're going to be brought back down to a low peasant state. That's what you're going to be brought down to. Yeah, it's funny. When I went to go check on something in the oven, I saw the stream. The stream was green, but every time I speak, it's in the red, because they fucking with it, buffering. I don't know if it's buffering for y'all brothers, but so like I'm just thinking out loud. Yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit. So this technology that you have, you're using it because you're trying to be like the Most High. Hidden government scanners will instantly know everything about you from 164 feet away. And this was back in 2012, 2011, 2012. So imagine now how much more advanced it is, especially using the 5G technology, which they have rolled out everywhere. They said, look, fuck it, y'all gonna get this 5G whether y'all want it or not. Because at the end of the day, this is a totalitarian society. It has nothing to do with the citizens. All that democracy, it's all bullshit. Whatever they say, that's what's going to go down. I believe even David Rockefeller said that we're going to have the New World Order, peacefully or by war or force. One of them devils said that. Something along those lines. All right, so let's read on. It says, they that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, is this the man? So this is how we know that the 12th verse is not talking about the spiritual demon Satan. It's talking about an actual man. In this case, the nation of Esau. They are the Luciferians. They even call themselves Luciferians because they have the light of darkness. And they move stealthily, among the people. But now they're starting to be revealed because it's time for them to go down. That's why it says the leopard shall watch over their cities. And the leopard is very stealthful and moving about undetected among other animals. That's one of their characteristics. So it says, let me read that again. They that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, is this the man that made the earth to tremble? And how did they make the earth to tremble? People are afraid because they took peace from the earth of the American military, but also when they dropped these different bombs. And there was more than 2 bombs. We talk about the Hiroshima and Nagasaki, but Tokyo got bombed and a few other places in Japan. They were getting rocked. that are not even spoken about. So it wasn't just 2 bombs. It was a whole bunch of chaos that was going on in Japan. That was just, I believe that was the last 2, if I'm not mistaken, but they were dropping bombs on all throughout Japan. And that made the earth to tremble. That did shake kingdoms. And they did shake kingdoms because they move puppet leaders in there so that they can push their agenda forward and push their corporations in there so that their corporations could come in there and take over the resources of that nation. And that's how they do it. Esau is the ultimate gangster. But Yahushua is coming back, and he going to be the ultimate gangster that's going to gangster you. That made the world as a wilderness. And we could look at the world and see it's a wilderness, man. This is why, animals are dying everywhere. Everything is out of course. And destroyed the cities thereof that opened not the house of the prisoners. And they did not open up the house of the prisoners, meaning the minds of Israel, to let them know that they're Israelites, to put their minds at ease. It says, all the kings of the nations, even all of them, lie in glory, every one in his own house. And these nations, once the destruction comes, they're going to go into captivity. But eventually, after a while, they're going to have their own land. They're going to be chilling. They're going to be governing over their people. But they're still going to be tributary to us. It says, but thou, meaning you Edomites, are cast out of thy grave like an abominable branch. And as a remnant of those that are slain, thrust through with the sword that go down to the stones of the pit, as a carcass trodden under feet. Because after you serve your hardcore slavery, you're going to be totally annihilated, rounded up and burnt. And good riddance to you, because you've been the plague of the planet, man. Esau, the plague of the planet. That's a title for a lesson or for a movie. Oh, the last white man on earth. Don't look for the sequel. We catch him. Oh, man. Thou shalt not be joined with them in burial, because thou hast destroyed thy land and slain thy people. The seed of evildoers shall not be renowned. Yeah, because now people are looking at Esau in awe. But when the kingdom is established, they're gonna be like, you're not even gonna be remembered anymore. It says, prepare slaughter for his children for the iniquity of their fathers, that they do not rise nor possess the land nor fill the face of the world with cities. And ultimately, that's what you're gonna get, payback. We didn't say it, the Most High said it. All right, so you can know that's gonna be your future. So you international bankers, remember this: the more you do, the more wicked shit you keep doing, the more your bill is piling up. Remember, just like you have the world in debt and you're going to call in your debts, well, the Lord is going to call in his debts, which is you and the shit that you've done on the planet with your technologies and all of that. So with that, I pray that your brothers have been edified. I put this in the description box, so if your brothers want to read more on it, there's PDF files on it. If you feel like it. So with that, the leopard shall watch over their cities. Big brother is watching you, and this is how they accomplishing it. So with that, I pray that your brothers have been edified. Until the next time I say shalom. That are not even spoken about. So it wasn't just 2 bombs. It was a whole bunch of chaos that was going on in Japan. That was just, I believe that was the last 2, if I'm not mistaken, but they were dropping bombs on all throughout Japan. And that made the earth to tremble. That did shake kingdoms. And they did shake kingdoms because they move